for inviting me along to speak today. They've been a great support to me in my career in Newry and Mourne, which has spanned centuries. So a big thank you to them. They've also been a brilliant help to the disabled community in the area and given them access, information, etc. When I came into post as Coordinator of Sport and Recreation for the Less Able, as it was known then, in the 1980s, it was a very different time. It was pre-Disability Discrimination Act, so everything was all very new. But our councillors had the foresight and vision to see that we had a new sports centre, we had a new arts centre, but disabled people weren't really going to these venues, and why not? So they thought they'd put someone in place that could start up events and classes and clubs for them to enjoy. And I was very fortunate to get the job then, and I'm still there. My post then was 80% contact time with groups and 20% administration. And my background was a PE teacher, and as such it helped start what is now, well today it's quite a good sports development programme for people with disabilities and indeed the able-bodied. Adapt NI influenced us the whole way through. They gave us better access to the arts, community, heritage and leisure venues. At any given time, we have at least 400 people with disabilities registered on our disability liaison, our disability leisure programme. And these people have to renew every year, so I talk to them. It's my job to make sure that everybody's happy with the service, that we're providing what they want, and there's a good bit of feedback there, and we can fine-tune our service for the people with disabilities. So my post changed significantly in 1995 with the onset of the Disability Discrimination Act. And I was asked to carry out a survey on all our council buildings. So I did that, and I presented our Chief Executive, Thomas McCall, with quite a thick pamphlet of what we needed to do to all our buildings to bring them up to legislative status. And Thomas McCall, who I feel shared the ADAPT attitude, that you commit to building equality and inclusion through better access. So he took the job on board, got the finance in place, and thankfully it was a rolling legislation. It didn't have to be done overnight. So we were able to do a number of buildings per year to get us to where we are now. We have an equality unit now, we have building control, and they do most of the disability work with us. And we can lift the phone and ring ADAPT at any time if we have any trouble or problems, and they help us out greatly. So I'd like to tell you a wee bit of work that was carried out in our council offices. I don't know if anybody's been there, but our council offices in Monaghan Row were built on a hill. And Newry's in a valley, so a lot of our buildings are on hills, and that creates problems, access problems immediately. But I was speaking to one of the architects who was involved in the process initially, and he told me they were all clapping themselves on the back about this fantastic building that they had provided, this office environment that so many hundreds of people were working in. And then only to realise a couple of years later that disabled people couldn't work in that building. So they were being discriminated against. They couldn't go to visit it, they couldn't work in it. So this all had to be redressed, and an awful lot of work had to be carried out on Monaghan Row to get it up to date and accessible. And a member of the public stopped me on the street one of those days and said to me, "I believe you're spending a fortune on access at Monaghan Row." And I was going, "Yes, it's great. You know, we really want to bring it up to scratch. We want disabled people to be able to use the building, mothers with prams, people working in the building. You know, access would be a brilliant thing for them." And he said it's a wee bit rich putting a conveyor belt from the roundabout at the bottom of Monaghan Row right up to the top at the entrance of the council offices. And the two of us had a great laugh, and I told him exactly what was being done, and that wasn't the case. And I'm often struggling to get up to meetings in Monaghan Row out of breath, thinking to myself, that would have been a great thing to get that conveyor belt up and running. So it's been a steep learning curve from us all. People's perception of access, they generally think again of the physical barriers, but there's a huge lot of information, attitudinal barriers that have to be overcome as well. And I'd like to conclude and highlight that the like of organisations like ADAPT NI are brilliant for helping and supporting us, bringing changes at the right time, at the right place, enhancing any services that we have to offer. So thank you for your attention.